Pornhub appears to be the origin of every one of them and is still hosting the bulk of my abuse and refuses to remove it.
Of the criminal code, it looks to me like this is trafficking in child pornography.
To launch a full criminal investigation into ALO.
You're gonna get f***ing arrested.
You probably never heard of MindGeek, but you're definitely familiar with their work. They're the company behind some of the most recognizable adult sites in the world, including Pornhub, RedTube, Brazzers, and over 160 others. Today, you'll uncover how MindGeek, now rebranded as ILO, built its empire on profiting off of illegal activity and the willingness to silence anybody who got in their way. And in this video, you'll see just how far they went to cover it all up and prevent you from seeing this. From its inception, MindGeek's focus was on volume. Their plan was to use their free sites to pull in as much traffic as possible and host more videos than their competition, because then they can start to monetize those videos with ads and even funnel some of their site viewers into their paid membership sites. When MindGeek introduced this, it was a brand new business model and it worked like a charm, allowing them to have the empire they have today. And this is most notably done with sites like Pornhub, which is at one point pulling in more traffic than websites like Amazon and Netflix. However, their business model had some flaws. Their success was only possible because of millions and millions of videos being uploaded each year, with very little regard to who or what was featured in them. By allowing virtually anybody to upload content without proper verification, they're able to make more money on ads, but it was very risky because it allowed illegal material on their website, many involving minors, trafficking victims, or even non-consensual acts. Which, if you're the owner of the site, you know this can be a potential problem, because if your company is found liable for knowingly monetizing off of these illegal materials, you can get in big trouble. So you're faced with a trade-off. Make far less money by deleting illegal content or by adding verification to the videos, or take on a lot more risk, maximize profit, but do everything in your power to make sure that people do not find out. So MindGeek's secret plan was to moderate content just enough so they couldn't be blamed, all while letting as much content as possible be posted so they can make money on ads. And their way of doing this was by hiring only 8 content moderators to work at any given time to review content across all of their platforms, not just Pornhub. 8 for 164 websites. So obviously that's not enough. But these moderators weren't also even allowed to listen to the audio as they were reviewing videos, which is a key clue to determine if a video is legal or not legal. This system led to MindGeek being sued multiple times, but they didn't care because that expense was pennies compared to the amount of money that they were making. And don't just take my word for it. Take Dylan's, who was an employee at MindGeek at the time.
The system is so slow and they don't have enough moderators that it stays up for long enough that people can get mad and sue them. And I think that's what happens.
Do you think there's like videos of underage still getting through?
Of course. You don't know who that is. We don't have consent of that person, and we're running ads. Like, as a business, we're monetizing content that we don't know where this comes from. We don't know who's on that video. We don't know the age of the person on the video. This used to happen all the time, but we would just say nothing about it. Right? We'd just be like, hey, whatever. It's like something that you just shut up. Like, just don't say nothing. Like, just be quiet.
So that video shows that it wasn't just negligence. It shows that they knew illegal content was running rampant on their pages, and they're even starting to get lawsuits. But as long as the content machine was kept running, they were willing to kind of blur the ethical lines a little bit. But this came at the cost of many victims.
Now on the Crime Watch out of Elizabethton, after a registered sex offender has been arrested in regards to sexual exploitation of a minor.
Police say online porn videos led them to a missing 15-year-old girl. The teen's mother found images of her daughter posted to Pornhub, Model Hub, Snapchat months after she went missing.
Take the case of Christopher Johnson, who abducted a 15-year-old girl in Florida. He posted explicit videos of her on Pornhub over 58 times, and he even impregnated her. And after she was recovered by police, the police reached out to MindGeek multiple times to get their videos removed. But MindGeek was reluctant. It took over 7 months of the police reaching out to the company for them to finally take all the videos down. But it was far too late at this point because the videos were downloaded, it was viewed hundreds of thousands of times and it started circulating on the internet. And this isn't just one isolated incident. Hundreds and if not thousands of these cases were pervasive across the platform.
These illegal videos have been shared all over the internet and remain active on porn sites today. Pornhub appears to be the origin of every one of them and is still hosting the bulk of my abuse and refuses to remove it.
Where the video would have like literally 2.7 million views and it would still be on Pornhub despite hundreds of comments saying that, oh, this is definitely pornography. That girl can't be any more than 14, 13. And yet Pornhub still wouldn't take it down. Even when I messaged them multiple times, it would take forever.
And many of these did not get reported or did not get touched, and they were never removed. And as events like this started to happen, Pornhub and MindGeek started to feel the heat from the public, and this is where things took a dark turn, because MindGeek started to create systems to cover up its tracks and avoid a liability, and just change nothing in the process. For example, when a video from a user was reported and taken down for being illegal, only the video would be removed, not the account with the other illegal content on it. That would not get touched. And even in crazier examples, MindGeek decided to go out of its way and not just clean up its website, but they decided to create a dark web mirror website that allows users to access Pornhub anonymously. So why would Pornhub want to do this? Creating a dark web duplicate only makes it harder to trace criminal activity, and honestly it kind of incentivizes it because users have the freedom to post and watch videos without the fear of people really tracking them. And another example is how they censored comments that were calling out illegal content. It would get flagged, they wouldn't be able to post it, get taken down. Like, this wasn't just negligence. This was a calculated effort across the company to keep the machine running and maximize views so they can run more ads on their website and ultimately make more money. And this is where things start to escalate, because MindGeek was willing to do anything to keep this a secret, even when people started to find out about this. The cracks in MindGeek's empire began to show as journalists and whistleblowers alike started to expose all of this. And a very pivotal moment came in late 2020 when an investigative journalist, Nicholas Kristof, published his article, The Children of Pornhub, which brought global attention to the company's knowing profit off of exploitation. But instead of addressing these accusations by making changes, which in MindGeek's mind would kind of admit fault, right? If they have to change things and improve their website, they're kind of saying that, yeah, we had a problem in the past, and for some reason they didn't want to do that. And instead of fixing things when they were starting to get exposed, they fought back with Mafia-like tactics. And the reason for this is pretty simple. If you can't prove your own innocence, you have to go and undermine your accuser's credibility. And this is the part of the story that MindGeek fears that you find out about this. Like, they did not want people to really know about this, and they're about to get exposed. And this is the part of the story that MindGeek fought tooth and nail to prevent people from finding out about. And before I show you the lengths that MindGeek went to silence people, let me show you why so many people believe that there is a mafia-like influence inside of MindGeek. So for starters, CEOs and upper management are known to create aliases to talk to the public. They're known to hire companies to wipe anything that's on the internet that's about them and just basically keep them off the grid. But really the most telling piece of evidence is their intentional design for their company. They really make it extremely complex and confusing for people to track who owns what, where the money's going, who's involved with the company, and they even got charged for tax evasion in the past. And all of this is super necessary when you're committing crimes for profit. And it also makes it a lot easier to attack your enemies when no one really knows who to attack back to. So when Kristof released his bombshell article about Pornhub and MindGeek, he became a target. And there's a bunch of coordinated online attacks by MindGeek that exposed him. They doxed him online. They tried to smear his reputation, and when all of that didn't work, they started to call him and make death threats against his life. And this treatment was not just for Kristof as well. Many other public figures like Lila Micklethwait, who was outspoken about Pornhub and MindGeek, was receiving similar treatment. But worst of all, MindGeek was so desperate that they even went after the victims whose non-consensual videos was uploaded to Pornhub. These were women who felt shame and guilt their entire lives because videos of them were uploaded to the site against their will. And they took years and years or months to pull down these videos from the website, but it didn't matter. Their videos only circulated. And as these women started to share their stories, Pornhub was so ruthless and so scared of losing its empire that they started to intimidate these women. These women were doxxed online. The content that was once on the website will be posted to social media to humiliate them and, prevent them from speaking out. And it did not stop there, because there was a coordinated attack where 3 of these women who spoke out against MindGeek were attacked physically to be silenced. MindGeek thought that they can get away with this and cover this all up by silencing people, but it only exposed the company even more. People started to link the connection between all of this to MindGeek, because at the height of it all, in an effort to confront the issue, Christoph called up MindGeek directly. He confronted them. He was like, hey, this is all going on. You gotta stop doing this. We're not gonna let you do this anymore. We have evidence against you. We know that you've created accounts to speak out against people who are linked to the company. Like, we know everything that's going on. And when he did this, MindGeek stopped doing everything. All those death threats, all those intimidation tactics, and all these attacks online, like, those accounts on social media went private. Everything that was happening stopped, and it only spoke more to that MindGeek was controlling everything behind the scenes, trying to pressure people and force them to stay silent. And as all of these scandals started to mount, so did the fallout, because in December 2020, Visa and MasterCard cut ties with Pornhub after uncovering a bunch of unverified and illegal content on the platform. Not only did they see that that was a problem, but they saw how not only Pornhub and MindGeek was knowingly profiting off of this, but also these credit card companies are being pressured into leaving with Pornhub, because if they were tied and they were helping Pornhub profit from all of this, in some ways they're tied to the whole situation, and they were facing a lot of backlash and legal troubles that they didn't pull the plug. And when these credit card companies ditched MindGeek, there went their revenue as well, because that was how MindGeek made money. They're able to have advertisers pay to run ads on their platform. That was something that got hurt because of this, and people would pay premium subscriptions on their sites. That was something that got tampered with, so it really had a big effect on their ability to make money. In a desperate attempt to save face, what MindGeek did with Pornhub was delete over 100 million videos overnight, and all of these videos were completely unverified from their users, and that's insane. This was the last thing that MindGeek ever wanted to do. They hated this because the way that they got ahead, the way that they got ahead of their competition and built this empire was through volume, having more videos on their site, more content so they can run more ads to those videos and just have a bigger viewership base. Like, everything was centered around volume, and 80% of that left overnight. But this also shows that if they're able to delete 80% of their website overnight, they had no doubt to build better systems to moderate content better. All of this could have been prevented if they just listened to the criticism, if they accepted that, hey, maybe things need to change in their company, then this whole mess would have been avoided, and they would have had a lot more money because of it. But the thing is, they're an evil company. These people at the top are evil, and they only care about money, and they don't care what it takes to get it. And while you would expect this company to completely go bankrupt overnight, it wasn't so, because it really took some time for MindGeek to really get back on its feet. By 2023, there was new management that wanted to come in, and all the CEOs at the top were able to finally pull the plug and get themselves out of that whole mess in a way to distance themselves from their tarnished reputation. They started to rebrand into ILO, and they sold themselves to Ethical Capital Partners, which was an equity firm with a name that's almost, too ironic for the whole story to be true. And under the new ownership of Ethical Capital Partners, they claimed to turn a page in the company. They said that they'll be more transparent with their practices, and all this stuff from the past will not happen. But as you can all imagine, that only continued, and there's still evidence continuing to stack. And what I'm about to share with you is a call made to Traffic Junkie, which is the team responsible for helping users run ads on their website.
If you do upload something with, someone that's potentially underage, we will just reach out to you and let you know that that's prohibited. Okay. Your account is not likely to become suspended or anything like that.
We won't ask you before you upload it, the big pictures if you have the consent. We on our end won't call the cops on you if that's what you want to know.
So these are two examples of employees under the new management saying that if you run ads of illegal content, we're not going to report anything to authorities. Like, they don't care. Your money's good here. And you might not think that's a big problem, but it really is, because there's many whistleblowers within the company that shared that this has been an issue in the past. So it might seem like ILO, under this rebrand, they're starting to get away with things a little bit more. They're still doing everything that they've done in the past. They're not really changing. And while a part of that is true, there's a lot of other things that are going on. And the thing that ILO fears the most is already starting to happen. So what ILO fears is not lawsuits. They don't even care if people find out about this in the public. What they really care is if people want to attack their wallets. And with a lot of the laws that are happening in the United States right now, there's currently 18 states like Florida, Utah, Texas that have passed laws that require ID to go and visit a porn website. And ILO hates this because this is making viewers leave, because this adds a lot of resistance to get online. There's some people that don't want to put in the ID, right? There's some people that obviously will or find loopholes, but there's a lot of other people that's just going to go to competition who's not playing by these same rules. And at the end of the day, if people hold ILO accountable and other porn sites like this, things are actually going to change. And this change is not only going to prevent illegal content from circulating on the internet, but it's also going to prevent children from accessing these materials at a very young age, but they just don't need to see this. And if you made it this far into the video, you obviously see how damaging it can be when we don't hold these companies accountable. But my question for you is, now that you've seen what's behind the curtain and you see how all of this works with ILO, MindGeek, and all these top porn companies, what are you going to do with this information? Are you going to turn a blind eye, act like it hasn't happened? Or are you going to remember this and be willing to make a stand and hold ILO accountable if need be?